Yep.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello there.
Who are you?
My my name is Reid Havens. I'm one of the data platform MVPs and kind of Power BI experts. Who are you?
Oh, well, no. Hi, Paginated Report Bear here. I normally don't start my interviews that way. It's just I'd never met you before, so this was a brand new experience. Everybody I've interviewed before, Mr. Chris Finland, who I know very well, has met them several times, but this is a brand new experience with, as I said, Reid Havens. So pleased to have you here, Reid.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, you only asked me a few times, so I'm happy to get this set up because I'm looking for others who are interested to do this as well. And Reid is a trailblazer here, so glad to have you here today. So you mentioned you were MVP. Mm-hmm. When did you first become an MVP?
Actually, Chuck nominated me about 2 years ago. Took about 12 months or so, and I eventually got my nomination in 2018, and I just got my renewal for my second one here in July, and it's been great.
Who's Chuck?
Charles Sterling, good question. Yeah, you may have heard of him.
No, I see. Being Paginated Report Bear, I have more limited exposure to some folks in the community, but I do know Mr. Charles Sterling, yes. Interestingly enough, he lives a mile down the road from me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that is interesting.
You must be in a good neighborhood.
Well, it's gone down since we both came there. Oh, snap! Okay, so that's cool. That's going to be your MVP. So do you have your own company? Do you work for another company? What do you do?
It's a good question. So I run Havens Consulting. I've been doing this now for about 5 years, just doing data analytics and running my own stuff for about the last 2 years, specifically under my own company, doing a lot of training and development and just kind of report design and aesthetics. Best way to describe it is I make reports look a lot prettier than they currently do for a lot of companies.
Ooh, and so specifically Power BI reports or other reports?
I used to be Power Pivot. I've definitely migrated from that over to Power BI since it's kind of taken off like a rocket the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Power Pivot, the add-in for Excel.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Back in 2010, and Power View for those who remember.
That
was.
Well, I like Power View because, interestingly enough, it's an offshoot of Paginated Reports. It's RDLX.
Wow, no way.
Yes, believe it or not, yes. Technically, to go install Power View in SharePoint, you had to install SQL Server Reporting Services add-in.
That's really cool. You
know, no, it wasn't.
No?
It was a real pain. Yes, I agree.
There's still one thing in Power View that does not exist today in Power BI that I miss, which is the small multiples for like the line chart. You drag a category in there, and that visual would make a bunch of individual ones and show you all the different categories. And I loved that. I wish that would come into Power BI someday.
Well, you know what I'm going to say here is I know a tool and a report type that does that phenomenally well.
Is that Paginated Reports?
Very good. Yes, yes, of course. That does that. Small multiples is our middle name. Well, it's two names. You get the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how did you get it? So you said you started with Power Pivot. Are there things that you specifically liked doing with Power Pivot in the context of Excel, or are you now a complete convert to Power BI Desktop saying, oh, I don't need that Excel thing anymore?
I still think there's a lot of use cases for Excel these days with reporting. For the fact that analyzing Excel is still a really great way to do ad hoc reporting. And when you have accounting or billable systems or anything that now Paginated Reports does provide a lot of solutions for that.
Sing it, sister.
Yeah, so I think Excel is less needed than it used to be. But for those really custom reports that would require cube values and all this extremely unique layouts for a lot of accounting type stuff, Excel was a better version of that. But I'm glad that Paginated Reports has come in to help replace a lot of the need for that, and it's a bit better integrated in like Report Server and like now in Premium and all that.
Well, it's interesting. So one of the questions I had on my list was further down, but since we've kind of hit on this topic, I do love Excel myself as well. Cube formulas you mentioned, love cube formulas. Rob did a terrible job of naming that as a PM, if you've heard that story. But interestingly, how would you position those three report types in the context of Power BI for your customers? So they use Excel, or they use SSRS, they're interested in Power BI Desktop. What use cases do you see for each tool?
In general, I see the highest level production, most mass audience types of publications is best served with Power BI. It provides the quickest, easiest access to insights, and especially with visualizations. But then, as needed, I do think there are use cases for like invoices and all the other stuff that can be done in Paginated Reports. A lot of the more printable type stuff and very unique layouts that can still be customized in greater detail than Power BI. And then, of course, Excel. Really, it's the best way to do ad hoc reporting. Somebody comes in and, well, I want this visual to look this way, and I want this table to have this on the columns and this on on rows. Like, all right, well, I'm not going to build that in the report for you in Power BI, but you can connect to it with Analyze in Excel. You can build this yourself off of the existing data set.
You know, it would be nice if you could take your Analyze in Excel workbook and publish it back to Power BI or SharePoint Online and have it work.
Yeah, I've been really hoping that that's been working. It's at some point in the Power BI ideas, that is something that's getting voted on a lot. So fingers crossed that comes out someday.
You might have your wish fulfilled. I'm
That would
not
be
promising
amazing.
anything, but someone is looking at it in this room.
Just between us bears, right?
Yes, yes. You don't look like a bear, but anyway.
I identify
Most
as
bears
bear.
don't have ties either, so that's a fair
That's
point.
true.
That's fair point.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite feature of Power BI? And don't say Paginated Reports to butter me up.
I will say at least the cool new feature with Paginated Reports is the URL parameters that came out. That is actually something that's been pretty nice recently. Honestly, one of the, I think the greatest social aspects that's came out with Power BI over the summer was the commenting and reporting, where it basically includes a built-in bookmark. So somebody can drill in and dig into a specific section of the report, apply like 15 different filters maybe to get to it, tag it with a comment, and then somebody can come in, click that comment, click the bookmark next to it, and immediately see the report page. So they don't have to anymore go into an email, screenshot it, and then explain in like a paragraph exactly how to get back to that data. So I think it makes it really easy to have discussions around data points in the reporting.
You know what tool had comments a few years ago? Yes, that's right. SSRS and Power BI Report Server had it first. Trailblazers. But I will say the Power BI service has taken it to a whole new level. They've really done a nice job with all the abilities you just mentioned there. It really is nice. And getting that notification saying, oh, comments there, that's something sadly we never got to on the SSRS side. But it's good to see it in the Power BI service. Well, that's great.
Absolutely.
So in terms of, well, have you used Paginated Reports?
I've explored it as much as I can within Power BI Premium that a lot of the MVPs get in terms of testing and stuff, but I've not actually had a client yet that has needed it. So I'm still looking for an actual business case where I can apply it, because I have a good base knowledge of it, but I need to actually implement it. Same with like Power Apps and a few other stuff. I've dabbled in it with a few clients, but I've not had a large project yet where that's been required within the scope of whatever client I'm engaged with.
But of course you've downloaded Power BI Report Builder.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, just making sure.
Yeah, Report Builder, and then I have Power BI Desktop Report Server, all the good stuff.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh man, this guest is great. Much better than my last guest. Just kidding, Christian. Just kidding. No. So actually, do you still work for Rob Colley at all?
We still work occasionally together. As a consultant running his own company, it's one of those things that there's definitely an ebb and flow in terms of direct projects that come to me. So during slower months, both work with Rob and then a few other people that I collaborate with. I will basically work as a consultant for them and kind of pick up hours just to help fill in the schedule as needed. And Rob's been really great about supporting that. So he's definitely helped to push me out of the nest, but also support me as I let my business grow.
Yeah, he's good at pushing people. Just kidding, Rob. Oh, he hasn't agreed to an interview yet. I keep waiting for him to agree to one, but no. It's interesting because I read a lot of your blog posts on Rob's blog. No, there's a great collection of authors on there who write some really fascinating articles. So it's a really great resource. It's still powerpivotpro.com, correct?
Yep, yeah, it is. There's now over 1,000 articles there. I actually
Wow, really?
Yeah.
1,000?
It's
Wow,
a lot's
geez.
been written. I wrote quite a few of them for about a year and a half when I was running the blog. Nowadays, I've switched to YouTube videos.
I saw you had a channel.
Yeah, I am. Oddly enough, I found that I can actually crank out a 5-minute video on a topic much faster in terms of editing than it requires me to write an article that's word perfect with no spelling and grammatical errors. So I actually prefer the video medium.
Yeah.
Plus for tutorials, I think it's a lot easier to explain how to do something with a video rather than screenshots.
No, so it's interesting you bring that up. So I don't want to keep talking about myself, but just recently, a friend of mine, Chris Finland, started doing tutorial videos on YouTube as well. And you're right, he did the first batch in his pajamas. And believe it or not, he was able to crank those out far faster than one blog post. And the views and reception has been great. So there's 3 more of those coming in the next week or so. But no, I absolutely agree with you. The reception on YouTube has been great. Even not quite as great as the Paginated Report interview videos, but still, it's been a very interesting exercise. And I know you had a YouTube channel and you were getting a lot of traction with, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm probably about less than 5 days away from hitting 2,000 subscribers. I'm about 1,922 subscribers, almost at my 2K mark.
Ooh, congratulations.
My hope by within the next year mark is to hit 10,000 subscribers.
Wow, 10,000,
Yeah.
that's a lofty goal, but that's,
is, yeah.
I think it's certainly achievable, seeing the growth of other channels like Guy and a Cube. Would you recommend more in the community start doing videos? to get more content out there?
Absolutely. In general, I find that in a perfect world, everybody would be willing to read, but I think people are less willing to read a long article than they are to watch a video. It's really
Pick
easy.
up a book. Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
you'd hope so, but I think it's really easy to throw up on two different monitors a video and maybe some emails, and they can listen to it, even if they're not directly watching it, and they can multitask and maybe absorb a video easier. So I have found a few people ask for articles, but more often than not, I think there's a greater response of attendance from the community on videos that can be watched, plus they can be sped up, so people
That's
can watch
true.
it faster.
That's true.
You can't really speed up reading an article.
Like people watching this video, they can skip the read parts
Yep.
and just stick on the bear.
I would hope.
I'm
One thing I don't think people can speed up is my voice, though. Typically, people drop it by about 25% because I know I'm a fast talker.
Oh yeah, you do speak quickly. Trying to keep up here. Okay, so we only have a few minutes before we're kicked out of this room since there was a bit of a miscommunication when we started. So if other folks were interested in starting down the consultant path for Power BI, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, one of the things that's helped me a ton in generating exposure in business was, of course, doing the community answers on PowerBI.com. I still do that a lot today. The YouTube video and just writing articles, cross-posting that on like the Power BI community videos gallery, collaborating with other people who do content, like doing the video with you, doing one later this month with Guy in the Cube. I think a lot of that
amateurs
cross promotion helps, and really just local meetup groups. Many of them are very happy. If you have a topic that's interesting, they just give you free space to be able to present and talk about it, and then you can do a little elevator pitch at the end on who you are and what your business is.
That's awesome.
And it's a really great way to meet people.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, I think that's great advice. I think the big piece of feedback, Steve, you agree with this. Don't be afraid. It's okay to go out there and just get your stuff out. Don't worry about people saying, "Oh, it's wrong," or "This guy doesn't know what they're talking about," or things like that. It's really more about like, believe it or not, you probably have a good idea and you think somebody else has already blogged about it or not. They haven't. I mean, look at me. Who else would think to use a son's teddy bear to evangelize Paginated Reports?
No, I completely agree. And when you go up and present at meetup groups or events, people are happy that you're willing to share this information. So even if your demo doesn't work or any of that stuff, you might think, oh no, people are gonna they're gonna hate me for this. It's not the end of the world.
No.
They'll sit there and wait and get excited as soon as it starts working again. So
Yep.
just go out there and just don't be afraid to just get a little bit messy with it.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks very much, Reid Havens, for joining me today. This was
Absolutely.
great and very informative. It was different for Paginated Report Bear to be speaking with a member of the community like this, but if any other folks are interested in speaking with me, would love to have you here. I mean, it was lucky Reid's local here, but thanks very much for coming again, and hopefully other folks are interested as well, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.